Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Apples and Geno's Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Nate Groot-Niblink, and I'll be your host. Today is a very special podcast, the first true in-season podcast that we've got. I've made this a family podcast, and that means that I've got Hutch and Binksy in here with me. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
What's up?
Good, buddy.
Awesome. I'd also like to introduce the newest member of the Apples and Geno's content team, and that is Blake Creamer. He's at Blake Creamer SE on Twitter. He's going to be a regular on the weekend pod with me, give me a little bit of a foil as I'm talking in my monotone voice about all these players and their individual scoring chances for. Blake, how are we feeling today?
Feeling good, feeling very good. Just happy to be here with a group of legends such as yourself. So,
well, now he's already in the good books. That's good.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good already. All right, well, for this week, it's really simple. The format here, we're just going to discuss players that have left an impression on us in the early going. I've asked each one of the guys here to bring a player to the table as well. So let's get right into it. First player I want to talk about, Alexis Lafreniere. So I've been a bit vocal over the offseason about how I didn't really think Lafreniere had it in him to really take the next step, or whatever you want to call it, to break out. But so far this year, he's played 3 games. He's averaging over 17 minutes a game. He's got a couple assists. In those 3 games, he's gone 4 shots, 5 shots, 6 individual Corsi 4, then 6, then 9, 4 individual scoring chances, 4, then 4, then 7, and he's thrown in 6 hits along the way. Obviously, this is all coming on the Panarin line. He's not playing on the top power play or anything, but yeah, he seems to be finally finding his groove in his 3rd professional season here. I'd be interested in picking him up if he's not already rostered. Definitely the early returns have looked really good. I wouldn't say that I'm like all in on Alexis Lafreniere, and I expect that this will continue for the entire rest of the season. That'll keep up all these shots and all these scoring chances that he hasn't done much before. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic now, where I was pretty much all the way out before. What do you guys think? Anybody?
Yeah, I think when we were talking about our divisional previews, I said that Lafreniere would be a bust unless he takes a significant step, and it seems like he's kind of moving in that direction. So, and that's pretty nice deployment with Panarin there. So it doesn't get much better than that. So, I'm interested as well. Hopefully he keeps it up.
Yeah, surprisingly, I am as well. I still reserve
Even though you
the right
hate his
to
face.
I reserve the right to hate his face.
what? Oh, come on.
But as a player, he does look much better. I'm a little bit worried that the team as a whole just looks completely fantastic from start to finish in the games thus far. So it may just be everyone playing really well, but he is definitely part of that.
Yeah, Lafreniere is always a guy that I sort of looked at just because of the bangs, right? He's a hitting, blocking, like for a forward. He's a guy that I sort of targeted in category leagues in this year too, late. But it's nice that with the deployment now, he's playing. Their top 2 lines are basically like line 1 to me, and I would definitely take him over some of the other guys like Kako, and some of the other guys on the team. Lafreniere to me is more the premier kind of, especially streamer with benefits probably coming out of that line. So yeah, I like it a lot. He bangs.
He does do that. All right, the second guy I want to talk about, Travis Konechny. Didn't know how much fantasy value we'd be getting out of Philadelphia this year. Still obviously up in the air, but the early returns on Konechny anyway have been pretty terrific. Interestingly, he played 21 minutes and 12 seconds the first night, then back down to a more reasonable 16-23, but he's put up 3 goals and an assist, 4 shots in the first game, 2 shots in the second game, 7 individual Corsi 4 in the first game, 3 in the second, and then 3 and 1 for individual scoring chances 4. It looks to me like Konechny's going to be probably the premier offensive guy on this squad under John Tortorella. At least that's what we can glean from the first 2 games here. Everything's obviously subject to change over an 82-game season, but Konechny is somebody who last year actually kind of took a little bit of a step, I thought, with his shot volume and his scoring chance production. Didn't really end up showing up a lot in the score sheet, but under the hood, I thought he was looking even better than he had in the past. And so I'm, again, a little bit cautiously optimistic here through 2 games with with Konechny that we might actually have something in Philadelphia after all.
Torch the miracle worker. At least for now, he has a very quick expiration period. But I think Konechny has always been a great player, always generated a lot himself. So I have him in one of my leagues, and I almost streamed him out when with Philly's schedule last week, but I'm glad I didn't because he performed very well, and I will be holding on to him for a bit yet.
I'm emotionally burnt on bad teams. I'm really trying to mold myself into a better fantasy player to take advantage of, like you said, kind of the only game in town when it comes to really like cellar dwelling teams. I was a huge fan of him going into last season and got pretty disappointed from the jump. And I'm still a little bit burnt, but I'm trying to mold my fantasy thinking into that kind of player again.
Blake,
yeah,
anything?
for sure. Yeah, sure. Oh, I'm just enjoying how orderly this is. It just goes. It's really
going
nice.
around
Yeah,
the loop
very,
here, yeah.
very good. Yeah. I like Konechny. I streamed him in for this week on a couple teams that I've got. I obviously watched the Canucks game where they collapsed, and I'm still a bit traumatized from that. But the guy's he's got a great shot, and I always love when I see forwards over 20 minutes when they're getting deployed for over 20 minutes. First off, counting stats, like they're on the ice. So we're going to get some counting stats. And not to mention, he looks good. There's no one else. So I like Konechny. I have Hayes in a really deep league. I'm not proud of that, but I'm one of the 3% that has Kevin Hayes. So Philly, number one, Binksy. They're not bottom dwellers. They're number one right now. So what
Torch magic.
That's right. He's like smelling salts.
All right, we got some comments coming in. Jesse says Jake Allen has been a treat. Josh, you got to take this. You were mentioning him in your article that came out today.
I was. He's looked fantastic. He had even the game they lost against Detroit. I think he only allowed one goal. It was a 3-0 game, but they scored 2 empty netters. So he has looked unbelievable. So I think he's third in the league in goal save above expected, and I don't know. I mean, Montreal's not going to be a great team, but they have energy right now. They're getting up to play some of these teams, and Jake Allen has been great. I don't think he got the memo from Kent Hughes that they're tanking for Bedard right now. So I'm definitely interested in Jake Allen. He's a guy I drafted in a couple leagues. So zero G works out sometimes, at least for week one.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts, but it has
see.
been nice early on. And we got another comment from Thomas saying Brandon Montour's team leading power play percentage. Yeah, Montour has been on that top power play and had a goal to show for it last night there. So definitely interested in Montour. Florida has a terrific schedule upcoming, so definitely all aboard the Montour train, at least for this week, and we'll see where it goes from there. Blake, you got any thoughts on Montour? Would you be willing to stream him in for this week? You think he's going to be more than that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, they have a great schedule coming up, or a decent schedule. So, that's not that. Yeah. But he's PP1 now is what I read actually. So anyone else heard he's getting reps on the top power play there?
That's what it looks like.
They're going with
like
a 2
that.
D-man top. Is it Ekblad and Montour?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So, it's for what he's what is he rostered? He's something ridiculous like
15% or something.
Yeah. So I mean, take a flyer for sure. There's no question. And he'll probably get, I don't know what's he like peripherally. Do you guys know?
He's not a huge, he's not a huge guy for hits and blocks, but he's not gonna like totally burn you. Like he's not Erik Karlsson or something like that. So he's acceptable, I would say, in those categories. All right, well, let's keep rolling here. Let's get to my third player that I had queued up, and that's gonna be from Binksy's team here. We're gonna go with Mason Marchman. Really impressed with Marchman. Yeah, got to be impressed with what he's put up so far. So just 13 minutes and 4 seconds the first night, then up to 16:45 the next night after they saw what he could do. Scored 3 goals across those 2 games, 5 shots in the first one, 3 in the second, 7 individual Corsi for in both, 7 individual scoring chances for in the first game, and 5 in the second. Threw in 4 hits as well. on that second line. And interestingly, I saw that they've been running a power play now. I think it was just for the last game, if I'm not mistaken, but it looked like Ben was up on that top power play. And I don't know, but Mason Marchman and Jamie Benn are similar players in some respects to me. And I don't think it's a huge step to say that Marchman could supplant Ben on that top power play as well. Binksy, we got to throw this one to you first. Were you watching these games? What are we seeing from Marchman? What do we think?
I was both working and watching, so my boss didn't enjoy that fact, but I was watching the games. They, for two reasons, look much better than they did last year. First of all, they're playing really, really quickly with the puck. The dump and chase is gone, right? They are going from line to line all the way down the ice, just trying to get it into the offensive zone and do it with speed. And I'm really excited about that. And that absolutely plays to Marchman instead of Ben when they're trying to make things happen. Like they look so much better offensively that I'm concerned at how bad Nashville could possibly be through watching them through these 4 games, whether that's just playing against Nashville. But in my experience watching the Stars play against the Predators, it's always like a really gritty battle, and that wasn't the case through these openers like at all. So I'm very excited about Marchman, just like personally and fantasy wise, it really looks good to see it jump 3 minutes from game 1 to game 2 is, that's people taking notice. That's not a strategy change.
Yeah, that first goal he scored in the first game was ridiculous. He just undressed Roman Josi. And that's not a scrub. I mean, he's maybe not the best defensively, but he's a good player. So just made him look stupid. His underlyings are fantastic as well. Like his rates or chance generation rate stats. I think Nate mentioned this already, but they're among the tops in the league through the first couple of games. So definitely, I mean, he's picking up right where he left off. He's looking awesome.
Yeah, I like Sagan this year too, and so I like him for a big bounce back, and he's getting some reps with Sagan and some second power play time. Looks like the guy's a beauty. I mean, had a great season obviously last year, but all of Florida did. So, I want to see those minutes again. That's what I'm watching there. Just keep those minutes if around 16, any higher. I mean, we're laughing. That's going to be a slam dunk. I think he looks really good. That goal was sick.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. That'll keep him up there for a bit. All right, let's go to number 4. That's Andrei Kuzmanko over on your Vancouver Canucks, Blake. 17:43 in the first game, then 14:36 in the second. He's got a goal. He had 4 shots in the first one, 5 in the second, 6 individual Corsi for, and 6 individual scoring chances for in both of those 2 games. It looks like there was some power play shenanigans that went on in the last game, but I did see a practice report that had Besser back down on power play 2 today, so I do believe that Kuzmenko is going to be back on the top power play moving forward. How excited are we about Andrei Kuzmenko, Blake?
Big Kuzi, love it. The guy's awesome, and I love his number too, 96. Hello. All right,
that is a sexy number.
Yeah, it's very sexy. But he looks good. Obviously, the second game was not a good showing for sure. It was kind of, one game and the shine wore off a little bit. That's sort of what it looked like. But that was a bad game by the Canucks overall. I think he made a goofy play, bonehead play on the power play that led to a shorthanded goal. So I think that kind of describes that. But it's nice. He should be on the top power play because I think Besser can be there too. But he brings a lot to the second power play. I think that's just evening out your lines there. And Kuzmenko, he's a character. We love him here. He's his interviews are funny. His energy's funny, and I think he's got something. He could have a special year, but we're gonna have to see a lot more in 2 games. But I'm surprised how much deployment he's already getting and how much trust. Like I've noticed just from the eye test, his back checking is really solid. Like he's making defensive plays, whereas he's known as an offensive player. So, we're excited. Hopefully he doesn't get injured next game.
I don't have a ton to add. The only thing I've seen from Vancouver, I watched McDavid completely take over that first game. I missed the first part where Vancouver played very well and saw McDavid just go God mode. So not a lot to say, but everything I hear about Kuzmenko is good right now. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat there. All of the remarks about Kuzi have been phenomenal. I just can't believe that they're not going to put Besser back on the first power play like that. Like it's really going to have to stretch out him playing this well for me for them not to revert back to it. Like, I just don't see how that happens.
Besser, I don't know. For the last couple of years, obviously going through personal things as well, but he's a bit soft. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. He doesn't bring a lot to the table besides like a really wicked shot. You know what I mean? He's kind of just a trigger man, whereas I think Kuzmanko's more dynamic, and even his passing to me is better than Besser. And I've watched these guys for a few years. I just think eye test Besser on the second power play makes sense. I still think Besser could get 30 goals, but I think Kuzi's going to probably outscore him this year, points wise anyway.
Nice. Yeah, I was just looking back to see what the impact of that power play was on Kuzmenko. So in the first game, 4 of his individual scoring chances did come on the power play. In the second game, 2 of them. Sure. So it's definitely a big part of what he's putting out at this point. And obviously, you could say this about any player, but they get knocked off the top power play, it's going to affect them. But for the moment, I'm definitely very interested. Player number 5, Dawson Mercer from the New Jersey Devils. This one is really exciting to me through 2 games here. 16:37 in the first game, then 17 minutes 34 seconds in the second. He's only got 1 assist, but he had 6 shots in the first game and 5 in the second. 8 individual Corsi for in both games, 6 individual scoring chances for in both games. Those are numbers that I like to see. Obviously doing this alongside Jack Hughes on the top line. Isn't on that top power play, so there's still even room to grow. I think both in terms of time on ice and on deployment there. I'm really liking, obviously, very small sample size with 2 games, but Dawson Mercer fully has my attention after 2 games here.
New Jersey's actually been pretty good. Their goaltending has just been god awful.
Yeah.
Both Blackwood and Vanacek have shit the bed in their first 2 games, and it's a shame because the Devils put in a good performance both times. They're defensively, I believe their expected goals allowed per game is best in the league through their first couple of games, which is shocking because it's New Jersey and how terrible defensively they were last year. But yeah, the goalie's got to show up. So hopefully they can keep playing the way they've been playing. And Mercer getting the deployment.
Either you guys, Binksy or Blake, got anything on Mercer, or should we move on?
I haven't been able to watch either of these Devils games. I like to see the consistency in these stats, though, with so much kind of similarly leveled players on that team. It's great to see him on that top line and to see him get consistent output doing it, even with such varying degrees of success for the team in the games that they've been playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that he played a full season last year. I mean, he's not just a green rookie coming in. Like, he played a full season, and Jack Hughes so far has done nothing, like 0. So once he kind of warms up a little bit, like I think we all expect that Jack Hughes is going to have a good season. So Jack Hughes has a good season. Dawson Mercer is probably going to have a good season, right? And then all these underlying statistics that you're mentioning, I like it. I haven't got to watch the guy. I've watched I haven't watched any of the games this year with New Jersey, but I don't know. 0G for Jersey. They need 1G. Can we get 1G? The Devils 1G.
We'll try. We'll do our best. All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's go to Oliver Bjorkstrand as player number 6 here. I want to highlight the ice time the most here. Over 20 minutes in 2 of the 3 games, the first game and the third game, so he kind of went down in between but bounced right back up. I did check if the power play had a big effect on this. The first game he had a bunch of power play minutes, but the second game he really didn't, so he was coming by those 20 minutes pretty honestly. So really impressive stuff just in terms of the trust that Hackstall's showing in him, putting him out on the ice. He had a goal and an assist through those 3 games, 7 shots in the first one, 2 in the second, 6 in the third, went 12-5-9 individual Corsi for, 7-4-4 individual scoring chances for. It looks to me like Bjorkstrand is one of these guys who might have a little bit of a grudge after getting traded essentially for peanuts this offseason, basically as a cap dump by the Blue Jackets after they got Gaudreau. I think Bjorkstrand might have a little bee in his bonnet this year, and as a guy who I think in the past we've seen, it seems like he might have issues with motivation at times. It doesn't seem like injury was a problem through his cold stretches last year. So I don't know. For me, if Bjorkstrand is motivated all year long, we could be looking at a real breakout here in Seattle now that they finally have some offensive firepower in place. They got Burakovsky in the offseason, obviously Maddie Veneers in there as well. Am I wrong to be this excited about Oliver Bjorkstrand?
I'm very excited about Bjorkstrand. I've been talking him up for the off season. I've been really high on Seattle. So far, they've looked pretty good offensively, much improved at the very least. And yeah, Bjorkstrand, I expected them to play the shit out of him, and they are. So I think he is criminally under rostered right now. I believe he's 26% rostered, and that's fourth on Seattle behind Burakovsky, Vince Dunn, and Maddie Veneers. That's, wow. I mean, I don't know how, I don't know how he's like, people aren't paying attention to this. 15 shots on goal in the first 3 games. That's pretty solid. I like Bjorkstrand a lot.
Yeah, they are leaning on him really heavily. That was something that you were highlighting for the last couple of months, and he was really the only target for me on that team, and I never ended up snapping him up. But at 24%, it sounds like I still have time.
You got time, Binksy. Go grab Bjorkstrand, Jerkstore Bjorkstrand. This guy, I've been drafting him for like 3 years, and yeah, it's been not the best time. But I love, again, just the deployment, right? 20 minutes, love that. 7 shots in the first game. First line power play. Maddie Veneers looks like a real player. So, if he gets time with him, and it's just going to be good. I don't know how Seattle's going to be. Obviously, with their goaltending situation too, is they could be behind in a lot of games if Grubauer can't figure it out. And put the sunglasses back on, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see how things roll there. But yeah, early on, 2 games above 20 minutes, that's exactly what you want to see out of a guy that you want to be picking up on your waiver wires out there. Let's get to a few more comments we got here. We got one from Josh who says, Soderblom has been fun to watch. That is an interesting story. I think it was just the one game. I think I looked at this earlier. I don't know if it was today. But yeah, it looked to me like Soderblom had the one game and then kind of went away the second game. So we'll see if that continues. But Soderblom, to me, hit all the metrics I look for in that one game. Had the individual scoring chances for and all that. He kind of made my players to watch list that I put out on Twitter every day. So he made that for a day. So that's something. We'll see. Obviously, as a rookie, we'll see if he can maintain that in any way. But yeah, at least for one game, he looked really good and he piqued my interest. So I'll definitely be on the lookout if he has more games like that in the future. Anybody got some thoughts on Soderblom?
Blake, I think you were going to talk about him, eh?
He was one of my boys, Elmer Fudd Soderblom. All right.
All right. Well, I won't make you.
I'll just parrot everything Nate just said. Yeah, because legendary.
All right. Let's see here. We got another one from Thomas who says Martin Necas ice time up a ton. His individual metrics are strong. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. Yeah, not something I was expecting. Were you guys expecting this from Martin Necas?
Not at all.
No. I mean, he's got the deployment, right? He's playing with Svechnikov right now, so that's nice. 5-on-5 at the very least. But they've split up the power plays as well. So playing with Svechnikov on the power play, I don't know what his power play production has been like, but yeah, I mean, he's looked great. I mean, 2 years ago, this is kind of what we expected from him last year. Yeah. Because he had that great shortened COVID season. So I don't know, maybe he just there was something going on there, maybe lingering health issues. Who knows? You never really know. But yeah, it looks like he's maybe living up to his potential here, at least early.
Yeah, just looking at the stats real quick. Obviously, he has 4 points in those 2 games, around 18 minutes, 2 shots in the first one, 3 in the second. 4 individual Corsi 4 in the first one, 9 in the second, and also 4 individual scoring chances 4 in the second one. So definitely the second game was stronger from an advanced stats perspective. But yeah, I mean, it was against San Jose, so take that for what you will as well. They've played Columbus and San Jose so far, so we could have some better opponents in the future for Carolina as well, and we'll see how he does against them. But definitely early returns looking good on Necas. All right, let's get to my last guy here, and then we'll get into the guys that you three fine gentlemen have brought to the table. My last guy here is going to be Mason McTavish. I'm really excited about McTavish, guys. I wasn't sure. I wanted to temper my expectations. I didn't want to get ahead of myself with this guy. But early on, 13 minutes in the first one, 15 minutes in the second game here, 3 shots in both, 3 individual Corsi for in the first game, 7 in the second, 3 individual scoring chances for in the first game, 5 in the second game. He had 2 assists in the first game. He's playing with Troy Terry. He's playing on the top power play. I think it's a matter of time with McTavish. I felt this way about Zegras last year in the early going. He had all the underlying stats that I look for, and I was really excited about him. It took, I think, maybe a month or so, and then Zegras really popped off, and he was a big part of a bunch of my rosters moving forward. So I feel similarly about McTavish this year, and once that pop-off comes, I think it'll really be a boon for all of Anaheim, to be honest. It'll be good for Zegras. It'll be good for Terry. Maybe even Ryan Strome finds some relevance in weeks where Anaheim's got sweet schedules. So I'm really excited about McTavish. Anybody with me on this?
Yeah, I like McTavish. You were saying, I think you were saying Anaheim's got a great schedule. They got a back-to-back to start the week. So he's a guy that you could look at there for a nice stream. He's, anyone that watched him play for Canada at the World Juniors knows that he was probably the most NHL-ready player at that tournament. He looked so fantastic. A guy that has been known to, in junior, throw the body around a little bit. He hasn't done that at the NHL level yet, but so that could be an element of his game that comes out as well. So, lots of value there. I think he's going to have a nice year there in Anaheim. He'll get lots of opportunity.
Awesome. All right. Well, John, let's not wait any longer. Let's hear who you're bringing to the table. I'm excited. Let's have it.
So I am just incredibly excited about Keandre Miller, which makes me feel dumb because I drafted Adam Fox early in drafts in a lot of different places. What really stood out to me when just kind of reviewing the statistics about him, because his play on the ice is what jumped out to me as a player that I really like right now. But overall time on ice in the league right now, he is 29th, Fox 22nd, Trouba 25th, right? So all 3 of their defensemen of the top 4 are in the top 30 in minutes played. And these are games that they're winning. So it looks like they're going to support 3 viable defensemen. What really is noticeable about his game right now is that he is stepping into the slot and attacking offensively. He is playing really well defensively. He's gotten really important takeaways, ended up with a shorthanded goal. What kind of scares me about his play right now is that he is 0% shooting on 12 of his total shots, only registering 5 shots on goal. So he's getting blocked, and he is missing the net. What makes me feel really good is that he is normally an average percentage shooter for a defenseman, and he is feeling capable on a veteran-heavy team to step up and shoot the puck after making a move, right? It's not just coming to him and he's blasting it. Like, he is heavily involved in what's going on there, and they are playing fantastic.
Yeah, definitely in a league with peripherals or in a Bangers Cats league, I think he's got a ton of value there. I just don't think he's ever going to get power play time. That's the only problem. Maybe he might slip into PP2 over Trouba at some point. But I agree. Like, he's looked great jumping up in the play, just like you said. Seems like he's a lot more confident to step up offensively. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Are the Rangers a wagon?
Sure.
The Rangers are a wagon, and I buddy, they were my team last year where I was like, they are way overrated. They stink. They're only a goalie, and somehow they're the fucking wagon this year. I don't know how this happened.
Well, they look crazy good, and Miller's only like 22, right?
Yeah, very young.
I mean, he's gonna get better. He's gonna, Miller maybe not this season turning into this kind of offensive and with Perif's kind of defenseman, but I think he's gonna have a great year, especially with that deployment. And then probably in the next couple of years, this guy's really gonna sort of take over on that team, because it looks like he has all the tools. He reminds me of kind of like, at least statistically and his play on the ice, kind of like a Darnell Nurse light. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Darnell Nurse doesn't
I
get the
feel
power
that.
play either, right? But Darnell Nurse is a high-ranked defenseman, especially in Cats leagues, right?
Mhm.
You know, he's very valuable. I could see him maybe performing at that level maybe this year.
Yeah, I like that comparison actually. Yeah, some of these guys, I think about a guy like Charlie McAvoy, who kind of performed at a pretty solid level, was never getting that top power play deployment, but was still really rosterable. He was putting up all the peripherals, getting that, 40, 45 points kind of pace from the blue line. That's something you look for. So I definitely think Miller's got that in his range of outcomes. Blake, why don't you keep us rolling? We alluded to it before, but who's your guy here?
Took all the air out of my balloon, man. All right. Elmer Fudd Soderblom. All right. He's going on the all-name team. Okay. This guy's a beauty, actually. So they have played 2 games, and it just his ice time right off the bat reminds me very much of what we talked about Mason Marchman, right? In that first game against Montreal, that third line. So he's playing with Oscar Sundqvist and Michael Rasmussen. This is ridiculous. Like, first off, probably the biggest line in the league. And then Soderblom himself is 6'8", 250. I mean, what are we doing here? This guy's insane. And so I watched a lot of the highlights of the game. And again, just eye test. I did bring some statistics because I know this is apples and Genos, so we got to get into that. But just the eye test, man, this guy has hands. First off, I think skating has been his biggest sort of issue, right? And with any player that's 6'8", 250. But I mean, is this guy like a Bufflin kind of player? Like, what are we? You know, he wasn't too mean, really. Wasn't really hitting anybody, so that's kind of maybe where his game can develop a little bit. But first off, yeah. What do I got here? Yeah, so he's averaging 15 minutes, third line, and honestly, like, I watched a bit of the broadcast in Detroit there, and they were all saying like this is the best line, and it was the best line in the game. And then the very next game, he was up 4 minutes in his deployment, right? So I think it's a good story there, and he just looks good, man. He's really slick with the puck. It's crazy. So puck protection, no one's taking the puck from him in the corners. I think his skills are really good. So shots per 60, 5-on-5, he had 12.35. High danger scoring chances per 60 was 12.35 as well. And that showed in the highlights. It was crazy. Like, if his teammates could bury a puck, I mean, he might have like some actual real statistics, to show for that stuff. So I like Soderblom a lot. He's on my watch list. Like, if I'm just throwing caution to the wind, give me some Elmer Soderblom, all right, and do it now. Guy's awesome. I hope he does well. He's a freak. It's like a unicorn out there.
Yeah, there was a viral video of him going around in training camp of him just dummying all the Detroit rookies at camp, just like head and shoulders over everybody and just deking the shit out of everyone. It was awesome. I mean, he's looked fantastic. I tweeted about this. Just that line had a fantastic game against Montreal. Obviously, Nate said they were a little more invisible the next game, but I think he's going to be a player. I worry about his time on ice and his deployment. Like you said, you need guys that can bury the puck. So I think he is a guy to focus on maybe for dynasty leagues, although he seems to be catching the hockey world by storm right now. So I think you'd be hard pressed to be picking him up. But if he's out there, give it a shot.
You know who he reminds me of, like, just statistically, is like Arthur Kaliev or like Oliver Wallstrom, like kind of one of those players. Like, I think he could do that this year. Be one of those players that gets like 12 minutes of ice time and then still gets 20 goals and 10 assists or something like that, with like really stupid numbers underlying. You know what I mean? Just like you said, a guy that needs ice time.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hutch, why don't you give us your guy now?
So funny you should mention Oliver Wallstrom and who was it? Arthur Kaliev. Because I have a guy that might be in that similar situation. That's Alexander Holtz in New Jersey. So he so far has a goal on 6 shots. His individual shot attempts per 60 is 22.56, and individual scoring chances for per 60 is 17.55. That puts him 25th in the league. So in the top 25 in the NHL. That's fantastic. He only had less than 10 minutes of ice time last night. Not really sure what happened there. I didn't hear any post-game interviews, but the vibe around New Jersey is that Lindy Ruff isn't really the biggest fan of Holtz, which just reminds me so much of Wallstrom and Barry Trotz, just an old school guy that preaches defense, that just won't give the young talent a shot. But man, if he gets the deployment, and he was getting it in training camp, in the first game, he was playing with Jack Hughes, but they moved Mercer onto that line. I hope that they give Holtz a chance, because he really looks like a player, at least offensively.
Don't these coaches care about our fantasy teams?
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Absolutely. I mean, it's really concerning to see him drop over 5 minutes of play from one game to the next. Yeah. But, when you're an early round draft pick from just a couple of years ago, you're going to get stuck in the doghouse, especially with a coach like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think definitely a watch candidate. The first game was really promising, and then, the second game obviously pretty worrying. So you got kind of a tale of two worlds there through 2 games. Definitely somebody I'll watch. If he gets on top power play, gets up to the Hughes line, even the Heischer line would be fine. Definitely somebody to throw on your watch list and keep good tabs on. I think you guys brought some honorable mentions I'm seeing in the show sheet here. So, Josh, why don't we come back with you? Give us the honorable mention here.
Yeah, so this is more of a bangers cats situation. Ivan Provorov has been performing so well peripherally. He, along with the rest of the Flyers, have just kind of surprised everyone the first couple games. Not sure if this is sustainable or not, but Provorov's a great defenseman. I think in our divisional previews, I said he'd probably be the bust or the punt candidate from your drafts, just because he was going to lose power play 1, and he has, because of Tony DeAngelo coming to town. But man, through the first few games, he has 22-51 average time on ice. He has 3 assists, 9 shots on goal, 9 hits, and 11 blocks in 2 games. Those are pretty amazing numbers. I don't think that that's going to be sustainable, but he's throwing the body around. He's getting in front of pucks. He seems dialed in, despite his reduction in power play time. And actually, he wasn't on power play 2 to start the year, and supposedly they've put him on power play 2 now. So kind of interesting. So I mean, he's not a readily available guy, probably not a guy that you can stream in a lot of leagues, but he's performing well.
He's 50% on Yahoo.
So he's out there. So definitely streamable.
Yeah. He had 10 of those blocks in one game.
Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Out of hand. Yeah. What's this guy's body look like? It just looks like ground meat.
I don't know. That's the first time I've wondered about what a hockey player's body looks like. But why don't
you don't have to lie.
Come on. We're all friends here.
Why don't we keep rolling with you, Blake? Why don't you give us your honorable mention?
Sure. Yeah. Let's just keep talking about the Flyers, because I think they're probably cup ready. You know what I'm saying? So this is the year, baby.
Plan the parade, baby. Chuck Fletcher for president.
Let's go. 2 games. So I was going to talk about Tony DeAngelo. That's how I like to say Tony DeAngelo's name, Tony DeAngelo. And I didn't do too much of a deep dive in here, but my main thing with Tony DeAngelo is his minutes. I'm very surprised by that. I actually picked him as a bust this year, like a big bust, giggity. He obviously offensive defenseman, power play driven. Though we all know that, right? But he's getting time killing penalties now with Torts. And I thought, because Torts is a bit of a dingle and DeAngelo is a bit of a dingus, that, we're going to have some butting of heads, and it looks like it's gone the other way. So, he last season he played average 19 minutes, I think, something like that, 19 and a half minutes. And this year he's up to 25 and a half minutes. That's huge, because obviously he can do, we've seen what he can do offensively. He had a great year last year offensively. But he hasn't been known to do anything else, really. So I'm interested in watching Tony DeAngelo. I think Tony DeAngelo can definitely outperform his draft position this season if he's going to get this kind of deployment, because he can bring some periffs too. I think he's got some blocks. Way to go, Tony D.
Torts and DeAngelo, Dingle and Dingus, peanut butter and jelly.
It's going together. I don't know. Yeah, it makes
match
sense, right?
made in heaven.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I would say that I was pretty surprised to see that deployment right off the start of the season as well. Yeah, I was gonna look up what I had him projected for, but it definitely wasn't near the 27 minutes he got in
Oh
the
my
last game.
god.
That was just shocking to me. So, I mean, any player, honestly, playing 27 minutes with top power play deployment is definitely worth keeping around. So, yeah, maybe I'll be proven wrong on D'Angelo. If Torts really is going to love on him that much, then I guess I should love on him a little bit too.
Norris Trophy, confirmed.
Confirmed. All right, Binksy, bring us home. Who's your honorable mention?
All right, so I got to keep with the theme. My honorable mention is Rasmus No, I'm just we're not going to do that to the world and talk about 4 Flyers.
You're not wrong. All right, let's just go with it.
Not going to happen. No, I just wanted to spring that on you guys. No, my player to watch right now is somebody that I regularly talk about, one of my favorite players to watch in the NHL. Matt Boldie has been going just kind of crazy. What I really love to see is the average time on ice at 19:20, right? So getting the time on ice, even not being on that top line, is phenomenal. He's getting on the top power play, 6 shots through 2 games, shooting 33%. So it's high, but they look really, really, really good offensively, and they are going to use him, which is what kind of kept me dialed back just a little bit on his prospects this year. As a player, I'm fully behind it. 2 assists, one of them on the power play. So he is getting involved in that power play. The goals have been absolutely incredible for him. Like it's highlight reel stuff. What I'm a little bit surprised by is 4 hits through 2 games. So that's a cherry on top. If he is, I think, maybe fueled a little by being fully immersed in the game, them relying on him a bit more and getting a few minutes is, I think, putting him like at full bore, and I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I am all about Boldie as well. Can we just do something though? Can we get Sam Steele off that line and put Marco Rossi there?
What the hell is Rossi doing on the 4th line, buddy?
What did he play the other day? It was ridiculous, like 8 minutes or some crap. What
Yeah,
are we doing here?
I don't know what we're doing here. I guess Rossi's got to learn the hard way like every other rookie, but
yeah. Have you seen Shane Wright's time on ice in Seattle? He played 6 minutes in the first game, and then they haven't played him since. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a teenager getting
team.
Libby, it sounds like. Just like end of the bench. Go.
Get the water.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing there. Hopefully, yeah, honestly, I think there's more room for Boldie because I do think Rossi's obviously a much better player than Sam Steele, who couldn't cut it in Anaheim and couldn't climb the lineup in Anaheim. So, yeah, I think there's definitely even room to grow for Boldie. Don't see how he comes off that top power play given the rest of the talent or lack thereof in Minnesota. So I'm all about Boldie. I think he's in line for a great year.
What in the hell is going on with Marc-Andre Fleury?
Oh,
this is a good question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
He is a goalie, so.
Oh, blasphemous! Yeah.
All right,
Nate, did you take Fleury in a draft?
I did.
Or was that the mock draft?
Accidentally, though, right? Or no, that's the one that you.
Yeah, I think that was in the live mock, wasn't it?
No, I do have Fleury in a league this year. I do actually have him. That was the one league where everybody was going 0G and he was there. I forget. It was the 12th or 13th round or something. And I was like, there's a lot of forwards here who all look the same to me, so I'm just going to roll with Fleury and soak up that volume. But yeah, early returns not great, so stick with 0G,
volume of
folks.
Goals.
Volume of goals allowed. Yeah.
I have a question before we get out of here. Have you guys lit your effigy candles for Matt Murray's groin yet, or?
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, how you doing there, Josh? Is that?
Yeah, not good, man. I don't know. Samsonov has looked pretty solid, so. And as long as, honestly, I said all offseason, as long as one of them hits, it doesn't really matter.
What did Yahoo know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna write that in my article, but I thought it was getting a little too long. But yeah, like all those people drafting Samsonov before
all those people
Murray.
Are me.
You need to go buy a lottery ticket, John.
Seriously.
Looking
Yeah,
pretty
I don't
smart.
know. I don't know what to really say about that. Yeah, I was kind of
That
angry
was
about that
record
too.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I was
very
kind of
sad.
angry about it too, just from a like analysis standpoint. I'm on record in several places being like, yeah, like Matt Murray was the guy that they clearly targeted. Samsonov came over kind of on a sweetheart deal, just on like a prove it kind of deal, and he was obviously going to be the second guy there. And then Murray gets injured instantly, and now all the people who drafted Samsonov are going to feel like they were right to do so. And I think it was
Didn't
just
even
really
make it on
bad
a road
process.
trip.
Super lucky.
Yeah.
You're making people feel good.
Yeah, that's what we like to do here. Not so much in Leafland, but here on the Apples and Junos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. All right, folks, that's going to be all we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to the band there for supplying the music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. Thanks for all the people who joined us for the live stream here. That was super fun to have comments to go over while we were talking here. That's it, folks. Much love.